a burnout.
And Jalen wants to do a burnout. Day 2 of the Ready Lift Superduty 2.5 inch suspension lift install. Front's done, finished that up last night. Jalen's pulling wheels off the back. The back should go pretty quickly, and we don't expect any problems. Got about 3 hours into it yesterday, so we're right on the timeline of getting things done, especially when you take into account YouTube and cameras and all that kind of stuff. So we're gonna get the wheels off and get this lift wrapped up. Okay, we're zipping right along. U-bolts were not a problem. 23mm deep socket and a 1/2 inch air impact. Both sides are disconnected. Jalen is, wait a minute. Over here. Jalen's working on taking the shocks off, and we'll get those blocks replaced. Here's the new ones. Kind of cool. Again, black, really high quality cast iron. They're probably right at 2 inches taller than factory. Are those 15, Jay?
The bolt is 15, and the nut, I didn't measure, I just used this thing, but it was bigger than 15.
Okay. My head ain't gonna live under here. All right, give her, let her go down just a little bit with the jack, Jay.
Okay, well, these are for the shocks, right?
If we need them. Okay, that's good right there. So this, easy enough. Just gotta pop straight out. Here's what we're changing. Old versus new. So that's your height difference. And we got a little bit of smooth and schmutz to clean off of there. Forward and then go. Oh yeah, it'll drop in. Oh, that's it. Okay, Ready Lift. Couple minor complaints. Not the end of the world. They do send you nice U-bolts and nice gold anodized, looks like grade 8 hardware for them. The right metric size and everything. The nuts are lock nuts, which we appreciate, and they're the good kind where you crimp down the metal to get the locking feature. See how it's kind of triangulated? However, where they crimped them, it caused the metal around the crimp, like right here, to bulge, and we had to take each one and touch it to the grinder, bench grinder wheel, in order for the socket to go on.
Yeah.
Gripe number 2, and I'm sure, I know, you can't build a U-bolt specific to each lift kit you put out, but obviously these probably also fit the 3.5 inch lift because there's a ton of threads, and once you get the bottom plate on and start to tighten, a standard deep well socket will not do the trick. You end up doing a bunch of tightening by hand.
with this thing.
With that.
And it sucks.
And it sucks. So, there's our only 2 complaints so far. We could just, the folks are probably saying, well, just zip off your U-bolts. We will, but we wanted to make sure before we zip off U-bolts what the stance is going to look like, what things are going to look like when this thing's back down on the ground. So we're going to go ahead and go through the toil and trouble of hand tightening the U-bolts a little bit on this side as well. And other than that, install's been a breeze, but that kind of knocked into our time a little bit. So we'll put you, we just as well do time lapse because we're going to be down here for a while.
Okay, so we've got the driver's side all snug and tight, and Dad's going back over his over here, making it a little bit more snug. I should probably check, yeah, I should definitely check mine. And then what are we doing then? Are we gonna try and put wheels on it, or?
Yeah, let's we're gonna throw the wheels on it with some lugs and put the weight on it, and we'll check shop travel, and we'll just check and make sure the stance is where we want it to be before we, number 1, cut U-bolts, and number 2, decide whether or not we want to use the shock
bracket things,
bracket extendors, whatever you want to call them.
Yep.
So yeah, but double check Jalen's, and then we'll throw some wheels and tires on this and
yeah,
see what it looks like.
They probably won't be perfectly even. Hope that's okay.
That's all right. Okay, we're happy with the initial look of the stance and everything. So that was Jalen cutting off the excess U-bolts. Oh, right up here. I'm gonna go back here. He's got a couple more to do, and then we'll torque the U-bolts. We will look up the torque spec for the U-bolts and get them torqualized, and then put the rest of our lug nuts on, get those torqualized, and then we're waiting until Monday morning for tires. We'll roll it out and give you an after with small tires, and then we'll...
And a burnout.
And Jalen wants to do a burnout.
I would say she's a tad bit taller. You can tell a lot more when it's not cramped inside the shop. she's definitely taller. Now Dad is going to pull it in. The steering wheel is not perfectly lined up anymore due to the front lift, so we're going to adjust that now, and then maybe I'll convince him to do a burnout. We'll see. Okay, so what do we need to do to fix our steering?
Well, if you want to go up and show them where the steering wheel's at right now after this lift, the change in lift changed the geometry of the steering
Quite a bit.
so that should be pretty close to straightforward.
Yep. And it is on its side.
And it's about 90 degrees out, be my guess. So this is the link that goes from the tie rod end on one side, or rod end on one side, and the other end goes to the steering gear. And to straighten the wheel, we will either lengthen or shorten this length of linkage using this collar here. These are threaded so that they complement one another. If you turn this collar one way, they'll both thread away from one another. If you turn it the other way, they'll pull each other tighter. So what we're going to do now is get a pipe wrench on it and see, first of all, if we can turn this. And then once we can get to the point where we can turn it with a pipe wrench, we'll start the truck. Jalen will watch the steering wheel, and I will make adjustments here until we get it centered.
Yep.
And actually, we'll probably try it without the truck running, because with the truck running and the power steering, it might twitch. We'll see. We'll try it both ways and see which way is better.
Yep. Okay, so now we have turned it a little bit. He's been working on it, but it's kind of giving us a hard time. So we just backed it up pretty much to the edge of the shop without steering it at all from in here, and then pulled it back in, and then it moved itself a little bit more when we did that too. So we're probably just gonna have to do it in stages. It's getting there, but we'll see. Now we've got the wheel pretty much perfectly straight, so we're good. Now it's time to put it back together. Steering wheel is perfect. That's the way to get rid of your old tires right there. On the private racetrack in Mexico. Yep.
All right, it's Monday. So far, so good on this Monday. Ooh, we need a new flag though. We'll get to that. But hey, tires are on. Again, ready lift, 2.5 inch lift and leveling kit turned out just perfect. 35 12 50 20 Toyo Open Country AT3s. So the truck's a little bit bigger, has a little more aggressive stance, but I can still tow with it, haul with it, and overall just super pleased. So far I only got a few miles on it, but the Ready Lift kit, way to go Ready Lift. A couple minor issues with stuff cutting off U-bolts. You're gonna have to do that just about any lift kit you do, whether it's homebrew or purchased. but really cool. We did not end up using the bump stop extenders on the front. I think we have plenty of room for the suspension to travel and get to the factory bump stops if necessary without doing any damage, without rubbing any tire. Same thing on the back, but we did not use any kind of shock extenders. We ended up, once we got the weight on the axle, we still had about 7 inches of up travel, and we only had about 4.5 inches to the bump stop. So we're good, we're golden. That project's done, and we'll get another 50,000 plus miles out of that set of tires, I hope, because man, tires aren't cheap anymore. Hey, back to old cars. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support of our YouTube channel and all the social media. If you like us mixing up the new with the old and a little bit in between, let us know in the comments. We're going to keep getting after it, and we'll catch you on the next one.